Pedagogy of English, teaching of English. The language is the roadmap of a culture. It tells us where its people come from and where they are going. Rita Mae Brown, language. The word language is derived from the Latin word lingui, which means produced with the tongue. Hence, language means the third thing which is produced with the tongue. Block and Tragus, language is a set of arbitrary vocal symbols by means of which a social group communicates. Gestation, language is a set of human habits. Autogestation, language is a set of human habits, the purpose of which is to give expression to human thoughts, feelings, especially to impart them to others. Characteristics of language. Language is learned, language is an acquired behavior, language is system, language is vocal, language is ever-changing, language is for communication, language is arbitrary, language is based on cultural experiences, language is made of habits, language is unique, functions of language, instrumental functions, regulatory functions, interactional function, personal function, heuristic function, block and triggers. Language is a set of arbitrary vocal symbols by means of which a social group communicates. Representational functions, principles of language learning, habit formation, practice and drill, oral approach, natural order of learning, skill, multi-skill approach, selection and gradation, situational approach to exposure, imitation, motivation, accuracy, purpose, multiple approaches, interest, correlation, nature of length, English language, receptive, heterogeneous, systematic, unique, dynamic, creative, productive, symbolic, modifiable, grammatical. The importance of English in India. English has been playing an important role in both our educational system and in our national life. English was supreme during pre-independent. The pre-independent India, it was the language of administration and compulsory subject in schools and colleges. English still occupies an important place in our educational system and the life of our country. Importance of English language in India. It is the official language of administration. It is the language of the court. It is the language of international trade and industry. It is the window on the modern world. Some reasons for learning English. English offers the freedom to explore. English fosters creativity. English enables learning. English develops thinking. English promotes participation. Aims of teaching English to enable the students to understand English when spoken, productive, symbolic, modifiable, grammatical. The importance of English in India. English has been playing an important role in our educational system and in our national life. English was supreme during the pre-independence India. Independent India, it was the language of administration, a compulsory subject in schools and colleges. English still occupies an important place in our educational system and the life of our country. Importance of English language in India. It is the official language of administration. It is the language of the court. It is the language of international trade and industry. It is the window on the modern world. Some reasons for learning English. English refers to the freedom to explore. English fosters creativity. English enables learning. English develops thinking. English promotes participation in aims of teaching English to enable the students to understand English when spoken, to enable them to speak English, to enable them to read English, to enable them to write English. The teaching approach. The approach has been derived from the word Latin prosa or versa oration, which means straightforward discourse. The prose is the powerful medium of expressing ideas, facts, laws, and principles. Therefore, it appeals to the head or mind. The main aim of the teaching prose is to enlarge vocabulary, explain the structure of the sentences, and grasp the ideas of the author. General aims of teaching prose to enable the students to read aloud the prose lesson with correct pronunciation, stress, intonation, and approach. To enable the students to comprehend the thought and ideas contained in the passage, to enrich their active vocabulary, to enable the students to express the ideas contained in the passage orally and in writing, to develop their interest in reading, to enable them to write correctly, to build up their character and prepare for the world citizen. The procedure of teaching prose lesson. The procedure of teaching prose lessons involves the following steps: preparation, presentation, recapitulation, home assignment. Teaching of vocabulary. The vocabulary is the set of lexical items in a language which is called the lexicons. The term lexicon is known in English from the early 17th century when it referred to the book containing a section of the language's words, meanings, and arranged in alphabetical order. Book containing the term itself comes from the Greek lexic, which word it has taken on a more abstract sense, especially with Thin linguistics, referring to the total stock of meaningful units in a language, not only the words items, but also parts of words that express meaning, such as prefixes and suffixes. Types of vocabulary: active vocabulary, passive vocabulary. Techniques of teaching vocabulary: showing pictures or using audio visual aids, showing real objects or models, minimizing or performing an action by planning illustrative sentences by associating with other words, identifying their explicit, breaking words into component units, exposure to different contexts, selecting the basis and their order of presentation to give some importance to word formation, cross-word puzzles, word games, giving equivalents in the mother tongue. Encourage the students to use a dictionary teaching of poetry. Coleridge defined poetry as the best words in the best order. Poetry embodies the beauty of form, the beauty of thoughts, and the beauty of feelings. Ellen calls poetry as the rhythmical creation of thoughts. Poetry has tremendous appeal for children, and it is the way of exciting their love of language. It lays the foundation for the appreciation of the language. It educates their emotions and enhances the power of imagination. Aim of teaching poetry: to enable the students to recite the poem with proper rhythm and intonation, and to enable the students to enjoy the recitation of the poem, to realize them about the emotions of the poet, to develop a poetry reading and writing, to enable the students to appreciate the poem, to enable them to understand the thoughts and images containing in the poem, to appreciate the rhythm and style of poem, to realize the emotions, feelings, and imagination of the poet, to develop their aesthetic sense, to create a love for English poetry specific aims, to enable the students to recite the poem with proper rhythm, proper rhyme with rhythm, to enable the students to enjoy the recitation of the poem, to understand the central idea of the poem, to communicate the exclusive message of the poem to the students, to enable them to appreciate the beauty and images depicted in the poem. The procedure of teaching of poetry: preparation, presentation, comprehension, appreciation, home assignment. Teaching of grammar: grammar is the study of organization of the words into a sentence that is based on the certain rules. According to Professor Nelson Francis, grammar is a set of formal patterns in which the words of a language are arranged in order to convey meanings. It gives the students ability to speak and write correctly, and enables them to use formal language patterns properly for describing a thing. Aims of teaching grammar: to develop a student's insight into the structure of the English language, to enable the students for understanding the rules of English grammar through use and practice, to enable the students to assimilate the correct patterns of the language without the rote memorization, to enable the students to speak and write correctly, to develop a scientific attitude towards the language. Teaching of composition: the composition is the expression of thoughts, feelings, ideas, observations, and experiences in written form. It refers to the collecting of thoughts or information and arranging them in sequence and expressing them in accordance with recognized standard form. An essay, a story, a letter, a poem, or a description are some of the forms of composition. Aims of teaching composition: to encourage the students to express their ideas in an organized and systematic way, to enable them to develop their skill of writing, to enable them to use appropriate vocabulary in writing various forms of composition, to enable them for the logical projection of thoughts and ideas, to develop their communicative competence. Types of composition: oral composition, written composition, language skills. There are 4 types of language skills: listening, speaking, reading, writing. Listening skills: James Willis writes, listening is receptive rather than productive, but it is an equally important skill. Listening involves the formation of proper auditory images of phonemic components such as the use of vowel, consonant sounds, stress, accent, pitch, pause, juncture, intonation, and the rhythm of language. Goals of teaching skill: teaching listening: to produce students who can use listening strategies to maximize their comprehension of the oral inputs, to produce students who can identify relevant and irrelevant information, to produce students who can tolerate less than word comprehension. Stages of teaching: stages of listening: receiving, understanding, responding. Speaking is a productive skill. It is only through operating speaking that we can get many things done for us. Speaking means communicating in real life situations. We cannot live without speaking. Listening and speaking go hand in hand, and reading and writing go hand together. For instance, when a teacher is teaching something in the class is listening. Speaking involves the articulation of all the components refer to the development of communicative competence at the productive level, strategies and techniques for developing speaking skills, asking questions to the learner on the topics of their interest, asking the learners to say the model language, model dialogue, asking the class to converse with each other, making use of information gap activity, using role playing, stimulation, dramatization, communication, genres, games, communication games, guessing games, it is using substitution, table discrimination exercise, substitution trees, conversation trees, pictures, cues, direct questions, correct academic citizen, dramatization, communication games, yes, sorry, using peer and group work techniques. Reading skills. Reading is an initial essential part of language teaching at every level. Learning to read is a language skill, but this is very difficult to learn. According to the traditional approach, the purpose of reading is to understand the meaning of words, grammar, and sentence. By reading, we give thought and sound to the printed or the written page. The abilities involved in reading are comprehension and recognition of the symbols. Purpose of reading: to regain information, to verify existing knowledge, to critique or a writer's idea or writing style for your enjoyment, to enhance knowledge for the language. Being reading. Types of reading: reading aloud, reading silent, methods of teaching reading, the alphabetic method, the phonic method, the method or the look and the sense method, the phrase method, the sentence method. Writing skills. Writing is one of the important skills to be developed in a language. Students learn to write words and sentences after knowing how to read them. Rewriting skill is an effective tool for communication. It helps the students develop imaginative and critical thinking abilities. Mechanics of writing: knowing how to make strokes with the proper hand movement, knowing how to make letters of the right shape and size, knowing how to make strokes with the proper hand movements, knowing how to make letters of the right shape and size, knowing how to have the right spacing between letters, words, and lines, knowing how to use capital letters and marks of punctuation correctly, knowing how to have a fluid hand movement from left to right. Writing is more permanent than speaking and requires more careful organization. Importance of writing: writing is communicating with words. Students while writing translate their thinking into words and sentences as ideas. Writing is the primary basis on which students learning. Writing expresses who a student is as a person. Writing helps the student express ideas and it's help refine his ideas when others give feedback. Writing helps students understand how truth is established in a given subjects. Writing is very important component of our life. Good writing involves for more important skills: mechanical skills, grammatical skills, judgment skills, discourse skills. Characteristics of good writing: good handwriting, distinctiveness, letter of moderate size, proper spacing, writing in a straight line, simplicity, speed, attractiveness. Suggestions to improve the handwritings of the students: great attention need to be paid to the handwriting from the beginning. Correct habits of writing should be cultivated in students at an early stage. A student should sit in the proper posture. Students should use calligraphy notebooks for written words during the first 3 years of English. The students should use 4-line exercise books. The teacher should point out to the students the direction of movement in the combination of word letters. While the students are writing, the teacher should go around the class to ensure that the students are making the correct movements. Common problems in writing: spelling mistakes, incorrect word orders, forming paragraphs, organizing ideas, lack of ideas and opinions. Methods of teaching English: grammar, translation method. Grammar should be taught and deductively with the vocabulary section is best solely on the grading text used and words taught. There should be much emphasis on accuracy. Subjects are expected to attain high standards in translations. The students' native language is the medium of instruction. It is used to explain new items and to enable comprehension. In this method, development of reading and writing skills should be the major focus. Bilingual method. The bilingual method is a method of language teaching developed by C.J. Dodson, 1972, to improve the audio-visual method, which was advocated in the 1960s. In the bilingual method, a lesson includes 3 stages of teaching, starting with the reproduction/performance of a basic dialogue, moving on to the variation and recombination of the basic sentences, application of the previous dialogue set sentences in new communicative, work well-ordered activities. In the bilingual method, Take the students up to a conversation level in the shortest possible time. Direct method. Since the grammar translation method was not very effective in preparing students to use the target language communicatively, the direct method gained popularity. The direct method has one very basic rule: no translation is allowed. In fact, the direct method receives its name from the fact that meaning is to be connected directly with the target language without going through the process of translating into a student's native language. The method aims at intense oral interactions and in the class so as to develop the oral communication skill of the students. Audio-lingual method. The term audio-lingual was coined by the Professor Nelson Brooks in 1964. The term programs, learning programs were to make the students attain conversational proficiency in a variety of foreign language. At that time, there were exciting new ideas about the language and building learning emanating from the disciplines of descriptive linguistics and behavioral psychology. These ideas led to the development of audiovisual method. New vocabulary and grammatical structures are presented through dialogue. Drills are conducted based upon the patterns present in the dialogue. Dr. West's new method. Dr. Michael West has laid a great deal of importance to reading. He has said that for the Indian students, silent reading is important, no doubt, but loud reading is equally important. In this method, a good deal of importance has been attached to the art of speaking and reading together as they are interrelated. But so far as teaching is concerned, both these two things should be taught separately. He has thought that it should be easy for the teachers to go and give the students the practice of these two things separately. Some more methods in teaching English. Silent way method, total physical, silent way method, total physical response. Dogme language teaching, peculiar language learning method, Michael Thomas method. Michael approach is structural approach. The structural approach in teaching English means approaching English on the basis of the structures. For this purpose, the structures are well made to teach English, and that is called a structural approach. In this approach, the structures are taught by creating situations that makes the teaching learning more effective. In the approach, students are able to understand the subject fully because teaching is connected by creating meaningful situations. The situational approach. In this approach, English is basically taught in the same way in which the child learns his own mother tongue. Whatever the students understand and express is connected with his own life. The situations in which the students learn are repeated again and again. In this approach, English should also be taught by forming a link between new words and real situations. The situational approach indicates how a teacher can create a real situation in the classroom. In this approach, English should also, in the situational approach makes great demand upon the teacher. The communicative approach is based on the idea that learning a language successfully comes through having to communicate real meaning. When learners are involved in real communication, their natural strategy for language acquisition will be used, and this will allow them to learn the use of language. Resources in teaching English: flashcards, pictures, charts, model, blackboards, mechanical aids, overhead projector, tape recorder, radio, television, language lab, PowerPoint presentation, websites, multimedia, internet, newspaper articles, mobile screens, English clubs, testing and evaluation in English. Teachers need to test the performance of their students. The language teacher must be aware of different testing techniques because they give useful information to both the teacher and the student. Purpose of tests: to test linguistic skills. Tests are used to find out what students can do. For example, listening, reading, speaking, writing. Test linguistic components. Tests are used to find out what students have learned. For example, grammar, vocabulary, spelling, pronunciation. For example, pronunciation. Different kinds of tests. Achievement tests determine how much particular content or subject matter has been mastered. These are commonly used at the end of the terms. Aptitude tests try to predict how a student will do success in learning the second language. These tests focus on the specific kind of activity. For example, sound imitation, pattern matching. They provide data about individual difficulties. Proficiency test assess how well or how skillful the students from their four language skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Various students' proficiency in listening and speaking are assessed by oral tests. Diagnostic tests aims to find out What a student still has to learn in a language. The result of this test provide feedback for a teacher by displaying the learner's strength and weakness. Diagnostic test. Types of tests in English: subjective type tests, short answer type tests, essay type question tests. Bloom's taxonomy. Taxonomy is a term derived from two Greek words: taxis, meaning arrangement, and nomos, meaning laws. In this descriptive sense, taxonomy means orderly arrangement. The most widely used system of classification of the object is the one prepared by a group of college and university teachers and later reported in taxonomy for educational objectives. 1956, edited by Benjamin S. Bloom. They classified the educational objectives into three broad categories or domains: cognitive domain, knowing; affective domain, feeling; psychomotor domain, doing. Lesson plan. The lesson plans is a teacher's mental and emotional visualization of classroom activities. Carter V. Good defines a lesson plan as the teaching outline of important points of a lesson arranged in order in which they are to be presented. It may include objective points to be asked, references to materials, and arrangement. Micro-teaching. Micro-teaching is a scaled-down lesson for teaching, in which a teacher teaches a small unit to a small group of 5 to 10 people for a small period of 5 to 10 minutes. Such a situation offers helpful setting for a teacher to acquire new teaching skills and to define old ones. Pacific Lalitha, 1936. Micro teaching is a training technique which requires student teachers to teach a single concept using a specified teaching skill to a small number of pupils in a short duration of time. Micro teaching is a training technique which requires student teachers to teach a single concept using specified teaching skills to a small number of pupils in a short duration of time. धन्यवाद. Thank you so much. All the best.